Finding great candidates to hire can be like, well, trying to find a needle in a haystack. Sure, you can post your job to some job board, but then all you can do is hope the right person comes along. Which is why you should try ZipRecruiter for free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. ZipRecruiter doesn't depend on candidates finding you. It finds them for you. Its powerful technology identifies people with the right experience and actively invites them to apply to your job. You get qualified candidates fast. So while other companies might deliver a lot of hay, ZipRecruiter finds you what you're looking for. The needle in the haystack.
See why 4 out of 5 employers who post a job on ZipRecruiter get a quality candidate within the first day. ZipRecruiter, the smartest way to hire. And right now, you can try ZipRecruiter for free. That's right, free at ziprecruiter.com/zip. That's ziprecruiter.com/zip. ziprecruiter.com/zip.
I earned my degree online at Arizona State University. I chose to get my degree at ASU because I knew that I'd get a quality education, they were recognized for excellence, and that I would be prepared for the workforce upon graduating. To be associated with ASU, both as a student and alum, it makes me extremely proud, and having experienced the program, I know now that I'm set up for success. Learn more at asuonline.asu.edu.
Okay, so you know that little lock icon you see on like some messaging apps?
Right.
Like, supposed to keep secrets safe. Well, imagine that lock.
Right.
But it suddenly like has a window open to a room where like top secret military plans are being discussed.
Oh, wow.
That's kind of what we're diving into today, like right at the heart of it.
Right.
So this deep dive we're doing, it's about a really unexpected security incident.
Okay.
That happened just last month, actually, in March 2025.
Yeah.
And it involves the messaging app Signal.
Oh, okay.
So we're going to kind of like unpack how Jeffrey Goldberg, the editor-in-chief of the Atlantic,
right,
he accidentally ended up in a digital space where really, really senior Trump administration officials were actually strategizing military operations against Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Oh, wow.
So our goal here isn't just to like rehash the headlines that everybody saw.
Right.
We've actually dug deep. We've looked at a ton of reports from the Atlantic, the Guardian, the New York Post, NPR, PBS, the WSJ, and even AP News. We looked at them all to really, really understand what happened here, like why it carries so much weight, and like what are the even bigger questions that it raises about technology security and just how governments communicate in this like totally connected world that we're in now.
Yeah.
We're going to be looking at the roles played by figures like Goldberg himself, obviously, but then also senior Trump administration members, including Vice President J.D. Vance, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, and National Security Advisor Mike Waltz.
Right.
Even Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe in the aftermath of this whole thing.
Wow, that's a lot of people.
So, okay, so like how does the editor of a major publication like The Atlantic just like end up in a chat about potential military strikes?
It's like you said, it's kind of random.
Yeah.
So Jeffrey Goldberg, the top editor at The Atlantic, for reasons that we still don't fully understand, he just got added to this Signal group chat.
Oh, wow.
But this wasn't just a casual group chat, you know? This chat included like really, really senior Trump administration officials.
Like who?
We're talking about the vice president.
Wow.
The Secretary of Defense.
Right.
And even the National Security Advisor.
So like the top people?
Yeah, they were actively discussing planned military actions in this chat.
And when you say military actions, we're talking about something significant.
Right. Oh,
yeah, not just like routine exercises or something.
No. The core of their conversations, they were focused on impending military attacks against Houthi rebels in Yemen.
Oh, wow.
So that like immediately elevates how serious this whole situation is.
Right.
We're talking about discussions that involve potential deployments of troops, specific targets that they were looking at, and even the potential for this to like cause consequences internationally.
So this is serious stuff.
Very serious.
Now, Signal has this reputation for being like super secure.
Right.
Right. Like its big draw is that end-to-end encryption.
Right.
That's like what everybody talks about with Signal.
Yeah.
So the fact that this happened on Signal, it almost feels like a contradiction.
Yeah, that's a really good point. I mean, Signal has built its reputation on being so secure because of that encryption.
Right.
Which basically means that only the people in the chat, the people who are meant to receive the messages can actually read them.
Right.
Like they can decipher them. So because this happened on Signal, it really highlights that security isn't just about the technology itself.
Okay.
There's a human element here that plays a huge role.
So like user error.
Exactly.
Yep.
Even the most secure platform, the most technologically advanced platform, can still be vulnerable if a user makes a mistake.
Right.
And in this case, that mistake was adding someone to the chat who wasn't supposed to be there.
Oh, wow.
And it makes you wonder, even with such strong encryption, are platforms like this really designed for these kinds of super sensitive government discussions if they're not following the most basic user protocols?
That's a good question.
You have to wonder. Because even though Signal's end-to-end encryption secures the messages themselves, that system of adding and removing people from a group relies on users to do it right.
Right.
And that's not protected by the same level of encryption.
So Goldberg finds himself in this unexpected digital space, realizes what's going on, and decides to report on it.
Right.
That's a big decision.
Oh, it is a huge decision. Once Goldberg understood what they were talking about in the chat and realized he was added there by mistake, he started publishing parts of the conversations in the Atlantic.
Oh, wow.
And that's when the details of these planned military operations started to become public.
And these weren't just like vague outlines of plans or something, right?
Yeah.
What kind of details were actually revealed?
No, the stuff that was leaked was really detailed.
Right.
Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth, he reportedly went into a lot of detail about the specific types of aircraft and weapons that they were planning to use.
Like what?
He mentioned things like F-18 fighter jets, MQ-9 drones, even Tomahawk cruise missiles. And it's even reported that the published parts of the chat talked about potential targets and the order in which they were going to attack them.
So that's really specific.
Very specific. And when this kind of detail gets out, it obviously raises serious concerns about what's called operational security,
Right.
which basically means protecting sensitive information about military operations so that your enemies don't get an advantage.
Right.
So if these details are just out in the open, it could potentially allow the Houthi rebels to anticipate and figure out how to counter those plans.
So it could really change things on the ground.
Exactly.
Okay, so this is where things get even more complicated.
Yeah.
Because then there's the Trump administration's response to all of this.
Right.
And it wasn't exactly a straightforward admission that something went wrong, was it?
That's one way to put it.
Yeah.
The official stance from the Trump administration, and they repeated this over and over again, President Trump himself, intelligence officials like Director of National Intelligence Tulsi Gabbard and CIA Director John Ratcliffe, they all said that no classified information had been leaked.
Oh, wow.
They said that everything that was discussed in that chat was within the rules and that there was no actual security breach.
But that seems to go against the fact that there was detailed information about weapon systems and attack sequences.
Right.
That ended up in a news publication.
Right.
It sounds like it was more than just general ideas about strategy that they were sharing.
Right. That's exactly the point. That's what caused all this concern,
Right.
and that's what sparked bipartisan concern in Congress.
Oh, wow.
So despite the administration's assurances, lawmakers from both parties,
From both sides.
yes, they called for investigations into this whole incident.
So they didn't buy it.
No. And they weren't just worried about what was said in those chats, but also the fact that such sensitive matters were even being talked about on a platform that wasn't officially approved by the government.
Right, because there are those specific systems, right?
Exactly. There are communication systems that are specifically approved and secured by government agencies, and often they have even more security and oversight than commercial apps do.
Gotcha.
And the fact that a journalist just accidentally got access to this chat,
Yeah.
it raised some serious questions about their judgment and the protocols they had in place for handling this kind of sensitive information that affects national security.
So it's not just about the content of the conversation.
Right.
It's about where the conversation is even happening.
Exactly. Right.
Which kind of brings up this bigger debate that we're always having.
Right.
About like what ways of communicating are actually appropriate for government business.
Yeah.
We all use these apps every single day for so much of our lives. So where do you draw the line when it comes to official government communication? Especially when we're talking about things like national security.
Yeah. That's the million-dollar question.
Yeah.
Because while apps like Signal offer this really strong encryption, a lot of security experts say that you shouldn't be using platforms that aren't specifically approved by the government for discussing classified information.
Right.
Because commercial platforms might not have the same level of really rigorous oversight. They may not have independent security audits, and they might not have the specific safeguards that the government builds into their systems.
Right. So this was kind of a wake-up call.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
This incident was a huge reminder of those risks, and apparently it led to the Trump administration reevaluating their communication protocols.
Oh, wow.
So they had to really weigh the convenience and the fact that everyone's familiar with these apps
Right.
against the very real risks to national security.
Tough question.
Yeah.
And the media, obviously, they reacted to this in a big way. I remember seeing this story everywhere.
Everywhere.
On all the news outlets.
Outlets like The Guardian and The New York Post. They dedicated so much coverage to this story, really focusing on what this could mean for national security
Right.
and for government transparency.
And even the public reaction was really interesting.
Oh, yeah, it was big. Even late-night comedy shows like Stephen Colbert's, they were making jokes about this incident.
Oh, yeah.
They were making fun of how the administration handled it,
Oh, wow.
which I think shows that the public was skeptical about the whole thing.
Yeah.
And then people even started calling this whole thing Signalgate,
Right.
which shows you how big of a deal people thought it was.
Right.
Like a potential scandal.
Okay, so if we kind of boil this whole Signalgate thing down to its most important parts, what are the key takeaways for you? What should we really be paying attention to here?
I think if we take a step back and look at the big picture, the most important thing to remember here is that it shows how vulnerable government communications can be. The fact that a journalist was accidentally added to this important chat really shows that there might be a gap between how easy it is to use modern technology and the really strict security that's needed for classified information.
Right.
And I think it highlights how important it is to have really clear and well-defined protocols for handling matters of national security, protocols that are enforced and followed every single time.
Right.
And it also sparked a really important nationwide conversation
about
the role of technology in government.
Okay.
How crucial it is to protect privacy, and how essential it is to have top-notch security at the highest levels of government.
So we've taken a really deep dive into this signal security breach, and it's pretty clear that this wasn't just a small mistake.
Yeah.
It really shows us how complicated it is to handle sensitive information in this digital world that we live in.
Exactly. And it leaves us with a question that we all need to think about.
What's that?
Given how useful and common these modern communication tools are, how can governments make sure that they're being efficient while also maintaining that really strict level of security that's needed to protect sensitive information?
It's a tough question.
Yeah.
And there's no easy answer.
No. And it forces us to think about all the different factors involved. From the technical side of things, like encryption, all the way to the human element of following the rules and protocols every single time.
Yeah.
So this incident really reminds us that technology is a double-edged sword.
Right.
It can be incredibly helpful and convenient, but it also comes with risks, especially when we're talking about things as important as national security.
Right.
So it's something for us all to think about.
Absolutely.
Not just in terms of this specific incident, but also as we move forward.
Good point.
It's a reminder that we need to be careful and thoughtful about how we use technology.
Especially when the stakes are so high.
Absolutely.
Well, this has been an incredibly informative deep dive.
Yeah, it's been great talking about this with you.
Likewise. Until next time.
See ya.
Take care.